you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, World Barista Championship, what is this all about? Hmm. I've been doing competitions forever, and I suggest you guys who look World Barista Championship on the internet. Uh, Look for the live stream so you can watch presentations. And one of the fun thing is I've met so many nice guys in this world, and today I'm going to talk with one of my best friends that I made because of the World Barista Championship. And I think you guys will really enjoy this time that I talked to him. Don't worry too much about the video. At the beginning, it's locking a little bit his camera. You can hear the audio is going to break up a little bit, but from the middle to the end of the show, it gets way better. But I think it's really important what he has to say. And please brew your coffee and let's get into the latest episode. My guest today, it's a friend of mine. We are friends for 10 years. He's been judging barista competitions and Cup of Excellence for I don't know how many years. He is one of the dinosaurs of the coffee industry. He's a roaster and one of the best guys I ever met in my life. Please give your hands to my friend, Scott Conary.
Hello, friends. Yeah, you need a clapping soundtrack.
I have already. If you watch the other shows, you will see that it will have.
Oh, good. Perfect.
So, Scott, just very quickly, introduce yourself. Like, what do you do nowadays? And briefly, how and when did you start in coffee? Briefly.
Oh my. All these brieflies is like impossible after the second decade of drinking coffee. Let's see. So I am a roaster. I have a wholesale roastery. I have retail cafes in the United States, in North Carolina. And I have spent the last couple decades in coffee doing a little bit of everything there is to do. May know my face mostly from world coffee events, barista, and other coffee competitions. You might have seen my face in the Cup of Excellence program. Huh?
We know the back of your head as well.
Missed that. What was that?
We know the back of your head as well from all the videos.
Yes, you absolutely. The back of my head is way more famous than the front of my head. Yeah. And I've done some work with CQI, and I do a little bit of consulting, and so basically everything there is to do in the industry, including our own farmer direct relationship program for sourcing coffee, which is what I spend a lot of my time doing too. Right now, I spend my time trying to keep our businesses alive, like everybody else in our industry. And I first really got into coffee when I was young. Probably unusually young for America, but not in other countries. But and I actually liked it. I think when I was 10 or 11 years old, I had this affinity for bitter. I actually kind of liked bitter things, which is also unusual for children, I think. Mm-hmm. And then it just drove me. It drove me because my personality is such that when I like something, I want to know everything about it, and I just dive in deep.
How long ago was that?
Did I first try it? Well, we don't talk about years, yes. But it was a long time ago.
So you're not gonna say how many years you've been working in it. That's what I'm getting from.
Yeah. When people ask me my age, I say that I'm ageless.
You are, but
yeah.
I know your age, and I can guess that you've been working for coffee for so long that when you went to Japan, in the coffee shop where they had the coffee from the year that you were born, they did not have your coffee.
Fair enough. That is a really good point, and that makes you quite a detective.
You see, so one of the things
we got as far back as I think 1978, right? I think we had a coffee from 1978. I'm older than that.
So one of the things that people know you from is from competitions, and that's how I met you. Like we judged
Right.
Colombian Barista Championship in 2010. That was October, and that's right after that is when I passed the certification. You were one of
Yep.
the people certifying people there, which was pretty amazing to me. And I wanted to people to understand for even though we talk a lot about this, but I really want people to understand what are the positive things that we have by doing competition, by running competitions.
I think there's so many of them. I think we take them for granted now a little bit because the competition has been around for so long that we sort of just assume that the good things were always there. The, I'd say some of the main good things are the elevation of the craft. You know, we have made it more obvious and made it very clear what the technical skills are to prepare great coffee. And then we've sort of pushed it out there to the world through the competitions. And so where in the past it might have been hard to find a shop that was creating good coffee, now it's much easier. And a lot of that has to do with the competitions pushing that out across the world so that there are better skilled baristas and you're able to get better coffee as a customer. Along with that, at the same time, was the idea that the barista is a professional position and that we want to treat them as professionals. And so simultaneously they're getting better and then we can respect them as professionals. And then we're basically putting a spotlight on them with the competition and saying, no, this person is skilled and you should respect them for what they do. Here, I'll show you, here, watch a competition. Look how amazing it is. Look how hard it is. And hopefully the more you understand, the more you'll appreciate what's actually happening when you get that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think that we sort of more or less take for granted is how the competitions have pushed innovation and how we have gotten so many new ideas, so many new equipment, manufacturers, tools, like things that we just are sort of like, oh, these are just what we use. We've always had them. No, we haven't always had them. And they've been created and they've been fine-tuned and made better over the years because baristas are pushing that envelope. The competition is a stage to show us professionalism, but also to show us new ideas and new concepts and take those both the concept itself that create something new better. And then it becomes standard. Suddenly we have scales in our drain trays that we never had in espresso machines before, or we have a new way of tamping that we never had before.
And even equipments that it was not supposed to be used for grinding or doing espresso are now being used because of competitions. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so one of the things that I always...
It's really long when you stop and think about it.
Yeah, it's huge. So I have a barista class where I speak a little bit about evolution of the competitions and what became a norm in the coffee shops because it was born, or I'm not going to say that it was specifically born, but at least was getting popular because of competitions.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things that I always say to people is which is my next question to you, it's how important is for a country to have competitions. And one of the examples is for example, we met in 2010. That was my first time going to Bogota. And there was no good coffee shops around, nothing. They were running their 5th national competition. And then the year after that was the first World Barista Championship that happened there. I've been there last year and it's booming. How many good coffee shops you can find in Bogota. It's a delight to go to a coffee shop in Bogota nowadays. Tell me a little bit about the benefits that you see for any country that wants to run a competition.
So I think that the huge part of it, the idea of what we were trying to accomplish in the early years, right? And so we're not hoping that we can do this. We know we can do it. And you're exactly right. One of those things that we've done through the competitions was increase awareness of what is specialty coffee, how do I prepare it, what's the best way to engage my customer. Those things have proven to be effective in increasing the specialty, raising the bar, but also allowing businesses to be successful, to be profitable. Those coffee shops in Bogota have been there for a while now. They keep growing, and there's more and more. There's probably more now than you can drink in a day. Yes. And
I have a list.
They are successful.
I have a list, and it's 14 just in Bogota.
There you go. And so the idea of the competitions really helps accelerate that for any city or country, and it allows you to find a format to get people to take coffee seriously. And that's hard in every country for different reasons. I think that every challenge that a country has can be answered through the competition format as a place to start. You use that as a format for creating an experience for the customer that they can then get behind. They can really support it and feel good about supporting it. And then it will be a financial success as well.
What are the downsides of the competitions?
I think there's a few that we have efforts to continue to work on. One of them that's come to light recently is access, the ability for anybody and anyone to be able to take part in the competitions. And I think every country sort of has to look at this either on their national level or on their regional level and figure out, how do we make sure that nobody's left behind, that everyone has equal access, it's a level playing ground. I don't have to be rich to be able to compete. I don't have to work for a specific company to be able to compete, because everybody should be able to walk in and learn and get some education out of it, have some fun with it. We want to make sure there's no barriers, and this is going to be different maybe for every country and every culture, but it's something that everyone should keep in mind, that we're not accidentally blocking somebody from coming in. I think that the other sort of connected to that, the other part that the competitions need to keep working on is access to the consumer. Like, how do we get more people who aren't in the industry interested in what's happening? There are people interested, but it almost feels accidental. And I think that we, as a group and as an industry and the competition structure, needs to think about better community access for the ability to learn, to the ability to appreciate, again, what it is to be a barista, what it means in the greater specialty coffee industry.
Yeah, sure. I think this very important points. It is expensive, a competition, especially the world level, as we spoke. The coffees, it's one of the main
potentially, or it could be very expensive.
Yeah, they could be very, very expensive. The coffees that they want to use, or and also equipment, traveling expenses, because if people want to go a little bit before the competition to train and roast the coffee, people look at those 15 minutes, but there's so much time and effort and money behind that. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it would be interesting to catalog that.
Yeah. Oh, I do have from Martha's last year. We did full budget, and
cool.
It was intense just looking at
right?
that. Yeah, but she had a company backing her up, which is easy. It was easier for her, but it's not everyone will have a company backing them up. So
exactly, and then months of time.
Yes, months of time, and that's like one of the things that she said the most. Like, they gave me 2 months as like pay work to be training.
Wow.
So,
wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good for them. Amazing. I mean, it's an investment. There's no doubt about it. But it's one that has already shown success. Like, it's not a long shot. It's like, pretty. Yeah. You're going to get some returns on that investment at some level. I think in the U.S. we have a preliminary stage that was designed specifically to be open-ended for anybody to be able to walk in, even a consumer, walk in and compete. Mm-hmm. And that is sort of the beginning of an answer to that question, where you don't have to show up with coffee, you don't have to show up with cups or anything, just show up and then make coffee. And everybody has the same coffee choices, everyone has the same equipment choice. There's no choices, you just come in and make coffee. Like that is hopefully a start to an answer of, we want everybody to walk in here.
Yeah. And the other thing about the end customer, that's funny, because like if I show to a friend of mine that doesn't work with coffee a video of a competition, they're gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
And if it's not edited, they might not enjoy watching it.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So maybe, I think that it should be something more interactive, like something that will be fun to watch, some way that the public can be a little bit more engaged and happy to watch it. I don't know, like even after results, maybe be specific with the scores. I don't know, show the scores, whatever.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like
I think,
we can create a format. Like, we can pre-sign everything. At least the numbers will be shown to the public.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. So like after the results, so you added the things and everything. So like when the edition goes, like it goes like show the judges scoring, and then you're gonna see like score espresso taste balance, flavor, and it's gonna showing like something, I don't know.
We keep talking about live scoring. I think
it doesn't need to be live. It could be an edition, a video that will be shown later, but it will have this on the edition.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. Well, and now you're talking about editing, and I think that's exactly what's needed to make it interesting to the public.
Yeah.
Like, showing it live is kind of not great, and we don't really have the technology to do it well. We're not the Food Network; we don't have that kind of expertise, but the Food Network does, and so we've always been trying to work with someone like that, or find a way to edit it so that it's an interesting, approachable view.
You watch like MasterChef, you don't see the 2 hours of them cooking. You see
exactly
5 minutes of all of them doing.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the results. And that's what people are interested about, the results.
Yep. Yeah, and intermixed with some actual live action and where the results came from. And I think it can be done. I think that what we need is that expertise, or we need someone who believes in that would be interesting and people would watch it. I believe it, but somebody else has to believe it too.
Yeah. So before we continue with our questions, I actually just have 2 more for you.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be fun to throw now the game that you
a game.
Watch it. Since you didn't watch the previous episodes, it's a game, but I'm going to give you 2 options.
Mm-hmm.
You will choose one, but keeping in mind that the one that you did not choose will cease to exist forever.
I am so bad at these either or games. Okay. I have a history of refusing to answer these. Go ahead.
No, you're gonna have to answer all of them. I don't care. So I'm gonna start easy on you. Okay?
Okay.
Like I did with everyone else. Espresso or filter?
Oh fuck.
The other will exist. Keep that in mind.
I guess I would say espresso, just because I can make a simulation of filter with espresso, but I can't make a simulation of espresso with filter.
Like it.
Right. But I don't like that choice.
Yeah, no. Now, an easy one for people to get to know you. Breakfast or lunch?
Oh, breakfast. No problem. That's easy. I'll eat breakfast all day, all night.
I know that. Just for people to know you a little bit more. We spend when we are in competition mode, we are breakfast, dinner. That's it. There's no lunch.
Yeah.
In between.
That's true. Yeah, and if dinner becomes breakfast again, I'm the happy person.
Yeah. So, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Ah, so I'll show my age a little bit. I watched Star Wars the first, or I guess the third or whatever, in the theaters. I was young, but I still saw it in the theaters. But I still love the original Star Trek series more. I'm not as up on the later series.
Okay.
I've watched some, but I'm not as up on it. But it just stayed with me more.
Are you ready for the tough one?
Probably not.
Naturals or wash it? Just one. You're gonna have to do.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say washed because there's so many different ways to wash coffee that you can come really close to a natural just by washing.
There you go. So for all of you in Brazil, he hates natural. Just saying.
But if you do a natural, there's no way you can make it taste like a wash.
No.
I shouldn't say that. Somebody will prove me wrong, which is probably good.
Batman or Superman?
I've always appreciated the ability for you, Batman, to be a non-supered hero. You know what I mean? He's while he does things that I'm not sure an average person can do. He's still a person. Yeah.
There you go, Batman for the win. And last but not least, I'm gonna give you the hardest one for sure. Bicycle or coffee?
Bicycle or coffee? You can't separate the two. They don't get separated. Not in my life.
I just the two biggest passion of Scott Conary, and he needs to choose one.
You don't understand. I'm going to die on my bike with a coffee in my hand.
You need to choose
it's
one.
It's going to end with both.
No?
Well, I can probably switch back to running, but I can't switch from coffee, so I'm going to stay with coffee.
Yeah. I left the hardest one to the end.
Man, this just proves how well Danilo knows me.
Well, Cole was like, when I was doing with Cole, he was like, "You're sick. You're sick."
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's just like a form of torture.
Yeah, that's my way. Like, I am a little bit sadistic, so I like to see people suffering. So, two last questions for us to finish. Any advice to someone who wants to get involved in coffee competition? Doesn't matter if in a judging level, volunteering, or competitor.
I don't know about. I would say the biggest thing I'd say is find a way to do it. I mean, you're gonna volunteer one way or the other. I think that you should. I think that's a super important part of our industry. Do it for you, but also do it for the industry. And whatever form that takes. You know, for me, it's been judging, and there was a point of no return where I was like, no, this is what I'm going to keep doing, and it allows me to keep giving back on some level as well as continuing to learn. You know, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm still learning. So that if you feel like you can't or you feel like you shouldn't, that's my information that I would share is do it anyway. Find a way to do it. And if you have trouble doing it, find somebody that'll help you do it. You know, find a mentor or a company or whoever will support you in doing it. There are so many positives and so many things that you can get out of it, even if you're just thinking about yourself, but even bigger than you, that it's worth doing.
Yeah, I think like from a personal perspective, my knowledge in coffee was here until I started getting involved in competition. And then jump to here. So even for the personal gain, it was like huge for me.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to replicate that anywhere else. There's not a lot of other systems that are set up for that kind of ability and access to learning. I mean, there's classes and there's schools and there's things you can do, but they're all pieces of what the competition does. And the competition is a much bigger, broader experience.
Plus, you meet like cool guys like Scott, for example. Very good.
It's funny. I was going to bring that up as a secondary point is because people ask me all the time, what's my favorite part of coffee? And it's always the people. Like, it's amazing the people that I never would have met any other way, that are now lifelong friends, and they're all over the world, and you get this just really good feeling. Maybe you get a chance to help them, or maybe you get a chance to just be part of their life. It's just,
Yeah.
I won't find enough words to be able to describe that.
No, yeah, it's impossible. Like if you just start listening, just listing just the friends that we have in common because of coffee, it will be forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So true.
And, so I'm gonna give you like a tough one for us to finish. But in the past 12 months, what was very unique and amazing coffee that you had in the past 12 months?
12 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is within 12 months. I might be playing with the timeline a little bit, but there is a farmer that we work with in
God? I can't hear you. Your mouth is moving, but I cannot hear you. No?
Okay.
Now I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you and see you.
This is weird. I can just barely hear you.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why things would suddenly change. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, let me do the quick. Are you there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you and see you.
Wow.
So, again.
Okay.
So outstanding coffee that you had in the past 12 months.
There is a farmer partner of ours in Nicaragua who has a mill, and he's been doing some really fun stuff with the timing of cherries and drying, and versions of anaerobic and a little bit of lactic. So one of his experiments, which isn't really big enough to be considered a lot of coffee, is one of the sort of most unusual coffees I've had in a while. And I think it's a lot of people have had them or have been able to experience them in competitions, but it's not the kind of coffee you see out in the world that often. And it has all those sort of super fruity, almost cheese-like qualities to it.
Really?
That I don't even know. In my mind, when I see it, I think of a cheese plate. You see like nice little sections of cheese on a wood board, all cut up with fruit too, though, because it's got all of this fruit involved in it as well. And it made perfect sense to me that way, because that's, when you get a cheese plate, you're like mixing cheese with fruit and like it seems natural. I'm getting all of those experiences in a coffee, which is just bizarre. I felt like I was in Willy Wonka or something.
That's pretty cool. Well, before you go, please, guys, follow Scott on social media. Coffee Scott. Follow Carbo
There you go.
Coffee.
Carbo Coffee.
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter. Also, Open Eye Cafe. Yeah, there you go. And if you don't feel intimidated, I'm going to say something that I first saw Scott in 2010 World Barista Championship in London. Mm-hmm. And I was afraid to talk to him. in October of the same year, I got the opportunity because like we were like in this together. We're judging the national Colombia competition together, so I didn't have any choice. If you see this guy walking in a championship, like of course don't stop him while he was judging. But if he's not in a judging position, just walking around having some coffee, please stop and talk to him. He's one of the nicest guy I ever met. He's a dear friend, and any chat with him, it's going to be one of the best experience of your life. So that's my advice for you watching this.
You're too kind.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying.
Well,
Don't
my
feel
plug for you is Danilo has always made my life brighter. So thank you for being in it.
No, come on. Thank you so much for being part of this. As soon as I post this, I will send you the link so you can share. And well, again, it was a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
I miss you.
I
Cheers.
miss you a lot. Take care. See, Scott is a very nice guy, right? He's a dear friend of mine, and we're both sad a little bit that we're not going to be able to see each other this month, next month, all the dates that we're supposed to go to coffee events. But hey, technology is here for that, right? So if you want to talk to him, find him on social media, Coffee Scott. Follow him on Instagram, Twitter. Very, very nice guy. You can learn a lot from him. And even though he prefers a little bit more of Star Trek, I have a message from my friend Darth Vader. Drink coffee. Stay at home. Copyright infringement.